Have you ever tried to believe something so hard it gave you a headache? Like if you just squint a little harder, maybe it'll click. That was Alex O'Connor before he was Cosmic Skeptic, before the YouTube debates and philosophy podcast. Just a Catholic kid, fist clenched, praying like belief was a door you could kick down if you just believed hard enough. So today, let's ask the question, what if the most faithful thing that you can do is stop pretending you believe? I'm Theology Jack, your guide in exploring life's biggest questions and mysteries. Alex O'Connor's journey is not your typical YouTube atheist arc. No angry rants, no smug takedown of street preachers, no clickbait thumbnails with red X's over Jesus. His path starts with devotion, genuine, awkward, 11-year-old devotion. Imagine this. You're a kid in a Catholic school uniform praying over a rosary while everyone else is playing their Game Boys on the school bus. That was Alex. Until one day, he just got to the tipping point and stormed out of his classroom and, get this, ripped up a bunch of plants on the embankment. Just annihilated them. Then stood in the rain, looked up and said, God, until you start improving things in my life and stop this mistreatment, I no longer believe in you. Spoiler, God didn't stop anything. That's the moment belief got cracked. Not shattered, just cracked. A fracture you can't unsee, the kind that spreads if you stare too long at it. Here's the twist most people miss. Alex didn't stop caring about God. He just stopped pretending certainty was the same as faith. And instead of abandoning the questions, he made a career of them. He studied philosophy and theology at Oxford. That's right. He didn't just bail. He enrolled, dived headfirst into Aquinas, Augustine, Nietzsche, and Hume. He didn't want to escape velocity. He wanted clarity. Somewhere between Plato and Paul, he realized that the God he was taught to believe in wasn't holding up. Not because God was weak, but because the image he had inherited was too small to survive the questions that mattered most. His YouTube channel, Cosmic Skeptic, wasn't a rebellion. It was a lab. Okay, quick flashback. Alex O'Connor launched Cosmic Skeptic YouTube channel in 2016 or so. Fresh-faced, sharp-minded, with a British accent, so crisp it made existentialism sound like a bedtime story. He wasn't loud. He wasn't edgy. He was sincere. The kind of guy who read Aristotle for fun and could quote Sam Harris without sounding boring. He started with ethics, animal rights, consciousness, free will. But it wasn't long before he aimed his telescope at the cosmos and asked, if God is good and all-powerful and loving, then why does everything feel so broken? One video at a time, he tested arguments for God, not just their logic, but their emotional honesty. Could this idea survive suffering? Could that doctrine explain evil without making God look like a sociopath? He debated everyone, shared doubts, pushed boundaries, but always with respect. That's rare. He's not Dawkins mocking from the sidelines. He's not Harris boiling it all down to utility. He's not a wrecking ball. He's a curious human with a flashlight in a cave. And then came the shift. The more he studied, the less he could claim belief in a personal God. But, and here's where it gets interesting, he never shut the door entirely. He even admitted in interviews that he wants religion to be true, that if one day he had a transformative experience, a burning bush, a whisper in the void, He wouldn't dismiss it. He'd listen. That's not cynicism. That's intellectual integrity. That's someone who didn't lose faith. He just refused to fake it. Now let's talk theology for a second. Not Sunday school theology. Theology that's been wrestled through grief, doubt, and Oxford term papers. The God that Alex left behind, the all-controlling, all-knowing, everything happens for a reason God, is a version many of us should leave behind too. Because that God doesn't hold up when the dog dies, or when cancer comes back, or when you're sobbing into a yard full of ripped up plants. That God demands loyalty, but offers no empathy, just sovereignty, just mystery as a bandage over suffering. And frankly, that God is a bad character in a worse novel. But what if God isn't like that? What if God isn't controlling the story, but suffering it with us? What if prayer isn't a transaction, but a cry in the dark, and God's there in the dark too? That's not the God Alex was taught, but it might be the God his questions point toward. A God who doesn't manipulate outcomes, but co-suffers with us. A God who doesn't demand belief, but honors honesty. That God, I can believe in that one, even if some days I can't feel it. There's a story in Genesis. Jacob wrestles with God all night. He's sweaty, angry, desperate. He doesn't win, but he doesn't let go either. And when the sun rises, he limps away with a new name. Not believer, not servant, wrestler. God doesn't seem offended by that. Maybe God prefers it. So where does that leave us? Honestly, right where Alex is, with questions still breathing, with belief on life support, with God somewhere between poetry and silence. And maybe that's okay. Maybe the point isn't to win the argument. Maybe it's to keep asking loudly, honestly, even if no one answers. Because here's the scandalous idea. The most faithful response to an unfaithful theology might be atheism, at least for a while. And if that freaks you out, good. It should. Because the truth is, God doesn't need you to fake it. God isn't your fragile idea of perfection. God can handle your honesty. God, if real, is already in the ripped up garden, soaked in rain, saying nothing, just staying with you. That's a God I can pray to, even if I'm not sure who's listening. So let's end with this. If Alex O'Connor's story is anything, it's a mirror, not a threat. He didn't walk away because he hated God. He walked away because he refused to lie about belief. And if we're brave enough, we might realize that's not faithlessness. That's the beginning of something sacred. Maybe not belief, but definitely truth. What do you think? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'm reading everything and might even include your ideas in a future video. And a quick reminder, click like just to be cool. And hey, if this is your kind of stuff, hit subscribe for more. It helps so much. Let's map ideas that can change the world together. And thanks for watching till the end, fellow explorers. Stay curious and embrace the mystery. This is Theology Jack, signing off.